All right. So, yeah, hopefully Zach Gall will be joining us today. He is a Americo rep. He was at the agent conference last year. So, speaking of that, I had a meeting with Andy yesterday. We had a call last week, and the agent conference for this summer is shaping up. The venue set, the schedule's pretty much set. The discounted tickets are on sale right now to the end of this month. If you get one by the end of this month, you can go ahead and submit a request and get reimbursed for half of that. So that is good as well. So a lot of good things going on. So see several people on the call today. And guys, like I said at the beginning, some of you I've seen on here each week. Andy took the call last week. We're picking up momentum every week with the call with the life insurance program, which is good. I have a special guest next week, a gentleman named Chris Ware. He's from Lead Concepts. He will be talking about different lead programs, if that's appealing to you, all different types. Week after that, I'm going to have Todd Marquade. He's actually our representative with Back Nine. They were also both at the conference last year. So every week, I'm going to try to have someone different to give you guys a different perspective on different ways not only to approach life insurance, but life insurance in general, and different ways to contact people and so on. In addition to us just sharing some things, I'm going to share some things this morning that seems to be working for me. You guys can share some things that seems to be working for you. And then I'm going to ask you guys to give me some topics that going forward that we want to discuss that would be beneficial immediately and in the very near future. So with all that being said, does anybody have any good news or anything from the past week or two with life insurance? Any prospects, any quotes going on? I know I did talk to a couple people and help them with quotes. So anybody? Anybody can jump right in. All right. Well, then I guess what we can discuss is one of the things we've been discussing the last couple of weeks. Andy talked last week about Mutual of Omaha and their term plans. What we're trying to focus on this year is simplified issue life insurance with an emphasis on final expense. And the reason being, life insurance is one of these things that we can offer year round. There's no particular time frames like health insurance or Medicare or anything like that. We can stack it or add it to any quote, any plan, which if you guys aren't doing, you should at least start putting some type of life insurance quote on every single conversation, every single quote you do going forward to at least open the conversation about offering life insurance. One of the things Todd Morquade's going to talk to us about in a couple of weeks is Back Nine is a great tool if you want to do simplified issue or fully underwritten. And there's advantages to that. I mean, or you can go direct with the carrier, of course. But if you do an underwritten plan, one of the statistics that kind of shocked me was less than 50% of underwritten plans submitted get approved. When simplified issue is much higher than that. With simplified issue, those of you who may not be familiar with that, it's whatever the carriers are, let's say Gerber, Americo, Mutual of Omaha. There is a series of questions. Then there's an instant decision. When you're done with the app, you'll know whether they qualify or not, at what level, if you need to pivot to something else. And the good news about that is you don't have to wonder over the next 6, 8, 10 weeks whether or not it's going to get issued. Within 48 hours, usually within 48 hours of Mutual of Omaha, you got a deposit, which is an advance with a street level commission. With Americo, unless they've changed it, I want to say they pay once a week. And then Gerber with advance as well. And then Gerber is as earned. With those three carriers, they have pretty much any product we could offer. One of the people I talked to the other day, she's been with the company a real long time. and she had a person that wanted mortgage protection. So we discussed that a little bit. Now, mortgage protection, mortgage insurance protection, not to get them confused, mortgage insurance, of course, you have on your house in case, the storm or whatever, something like that happens. But mortgage insurance protection is a type of insurance, and it's usually a type of term insurance that you get to protect the loan if something were to happen to the person that owns a home. So the people they leave behind would have enough money to pay off the balance, and they wouldn't have to worry about how it's going to be paid and things like that. So we talked about some different options. Americo's got some great options there. And again, if Zach joins us, maybe he can touch on that, but they have things like decreasing, which there's not a lot of companies that offer that anymore. It's a type of insurance where you pick an amount to be covered for. You pick amount of years you want to be covered for. And then each year, as the years dwindle, so does the coverage amount because your mortgage goes down. That's a good type of insurance. They have another one called payment protector, which you pick an amount, and if the person passes away before the mortgage is paid off, the beneficiary can either get a lump sum or continue to get paid a monthly amount to offset the mortgage. They have another one called continuation, either 10 or 25%. You pick an amount of coverage, amount of years, and at the end of the term, it's a combination of term and permanent. At the end of that particular one called continuation, which I really like, the individual will have 10% or 25% of the face value of the policy for the rest of their life. And that's very good because you can lock in their age and their insurability at whatever age you sign them up for. And, if something were to happen by the end of the term with their health, they don't have to worry about it because you have a locked in permanent plan the rest of their life. So all of these companies and all of these products that we have will really protect us, or we'll be able to offer our clients anything we want. With Mutual of Omaha, I'm just giving you guys an array here if you haven't gone to the sites, and then we can do some Q&A on what sites and how to navigate them and stuff. But Mutual of Omaha, great final expense. Oh, another thing with Americo, their final expense is something you might want to consider. Not only are their premiums extremely competitive compared to like a Mutual of Omaha, but they have what they call a smoker clause. So if you sign someone up that's a smoker right now for final expense, their final expense, which is called Eagle Premier, and they smoke, they'll get a non-smoker rate for 3 years. That's a big selling point. So if it's, I don't know, if they're 65 years old, 25,000 smoker, they would get a non-smoker rate. And if you look at a smoker rate, there's a big difference. So over the period of 3 years, if they decide to quit smoking, and they can prove it to the company, which there's a test they have to prove that, they will continue the same rate for the same coverage at a non-smoker rate for the duration. If at the end they continue to smoke or nicotine in any form, they can do one of two things. They can keep the same premium and lower the face value to match that, or they can raise the premium to the face value. So again, just a lot of different options. If you talk to a person like I did last week, and they unfortunately can't qualify for a level coverage of life insurance or simplified issue, which means day one, depending on the level of their health issues, they could possibly qualify for a modified, which pays a certain percentage each year up until it pays full. Or if they don't qualify for that, they can get a Gerber, which is a guarantee issue. There are no health questions. Anywhere from 5 to 25,000, they pick an amount for the first 2 years. If they were to pass away, their beneficiary gets all the premiums plus 10%. If they live the 2 full years, 24 months, 1 day, then they're covered 100%. Premium locked in, amount of coverage locked in, starts building cash value. So you'll hear me talk about those 3 carriers probably more than anything else with the simplified issue, just because between the 3 of them, it's pretty much anything you could need. with Mutual of Omaha. I love that contract because then you can also offer fully underwritten plans direct with them. You can offer IULs, Index Universal Life. That's a type of permanent coverage where it mirrors the Index 500. So not only do they have permanent life insurance coverage if they were to pass away, and I have one of these myself because I'm self-employed, and of course we have to look out for our own income down the line. It also builds up cash value, which you can take out down the line in the form of a loan, so it's not taxable, either in chunks or an income stream, which is probably the way I'll go to offset my, subsidize my retirement at some point. They have long-term care, they have Medicare supplements. So again, Mutual of Omaha and Americo, Gerber, between all of them, there's a ton of stuff to offer just between those three. And then, of course, I would encourage you, if you're not appointed, that you get appointed with them and contracted. And then once you get contracted and appointed, not only can you offer them, then they have excellent websites to go to, training materials, and the whole 9 yards. That way we can do training on these, which the first few weeks of these calls, I set them up to introduce you guys to different ways of marketing, branding, the different carriers that we're talking about that we really want to use as the forefront of what we write. I wanted to give you guys an idea of our contracting office in Frisco, which I was up there yesterday. Andy and I had a meeting. I mean, those guys are there willing to help you get contracted and appointed with any company you want. Sometimes they're easy, sometimes they're a little more complicated, but they can help you through that. Then obviously once you get set up with that, if you need help with marketing, we can discuss additional ideas. If you want to get involved with some type of lead program, we can discuss some options there. So there's just a lot of different things, and we don't want to keep these calls any more than 30 to 45 minutes each week. So each week we'll talk about some basic things, and then we'll start doing deeper dives into, like next week, the lead system, and then a week after that, Todd Marquade with Back Nine and all the options you can do through them as far as life insurance. And then we'll do some screen sharing. If you guys want to, we can do things like that. Go to like Americo site, which I'll talk about a little bit right now. I apologize, my camera's jacked up. I'll have that fixed by next week. And but I will tell you how to get to their site. Same thing with Mutual of Omaha site and Gerber site. On all those sites, there's a ton of training materials that you can print out, that you can order. They have short little videos that will explain the different products. And like I've said, the first couple of weeks, what I would like you guys to do is just concentrate on a marketing plan where, what do you want to accomplish? What type of life insurance sales and all that type thing? If you have a current book of business, how are you going to develop prospects to offer life insurance? If you don't have a book of business, how are we going to do it that way? Americo is actually another neat thing they have. It's what they call insurance drip. It's a free marketing tool you can use to advertise their products and your services. They already have developed compliant ads and stuff that you can go on there and personalize. That's once you become appointed with them, and then you can post them to your favorite social media link, whether it's LinkedIn, whether it's Facebook, whether it's whatever. It doesn't cost you any money. So there's just a lot of different options with these carriers, and I know that's a lot of things, but just wanted to give you guys an idea of some of the things we'll be talking about upcoming. What I asked our marketing person and Priscilla yesterday in the office is on my invites for these meetings is to add, I don't know if the other people are doing it, but to add my cell phone and my email. So if you guys ever want to do a one-on-one, if you ever want to do training or just talk about whatever, that way I'll be able to help you with quotes. If you want to get the contact information for the carrier reps, they'd be more than happy to talk to you about in-depth stuff there as well. So, so that's kind of an overview of what we're trying to do with this program. We are picking up momentum as far as sales and production, with new people getting involved with life insurance that haven't been involved before. So, all right. So now let's leave it open to the floor. I see we're picking up more people as we go, which is good. So, anybody have anything to add? Questions? Do you have any cases going? Have you been doing any quotes? Any thoughts or ideas on how we can help you guys continue to strive in the life insurance space? Anybody at all? Mary Foster, I see you're blinking on and off. I'm not sure what that means, but do you have a question?
Oh, no, I'm sorry.
I was wondering what that was doing. Thought my computer was shorting out. What about you, Emily? You have anything going on? I was actually talking about you yesterday with Todd Ullman.
So
So,
Kevin,
yes.
I would have a question. If you could share with me how you work with people to get them intrigued enough to listen or accept,
Yes.
looking at a life quote. If you're approaching them and they want health insurance, for example, and so that's their focus, what
Uh-huh.
are you doing? I mean, I can make a wild guess, of course, but I would
Yeah.
like to know how you, the expert, how are you approaching this successfully, and what do you do when they give you pushback? And I think probably the most common pushback would be, I don't need life insurance.
No,
I
you're
mean,
absolutely right. And
yeah,
I'm glad you brought that up because and as you guys ask questions, I'm gonna write these down and then going forward, again, when I can share my screen, we'll do more in-depth stuff. And I'll even have other agents, even if that are in maybe some of the other categories in our group that we do that are great at stacking. But for me, um, I like Medicare and I do health insurance. I do all of it, but one of the things I really enjoy, whether it's health insurance or Medicare, is when they show me, for instance, give you an example right now. I'm working with two ladies. They're in my Rotary Club. So they approached me a couple of weeks ago, say, hey, we're getting ready to go on Medicare. One was this month and one's next month. Can you help me with that? And I said, yeah. So we set up appointments and then we all got together. And then that's, first of all, I talk about what they want to talk about, which in this case was Medicare. And then after we talk about the Medicare options, I talk about, the Med Sup and the prescription drug plan. That's one option. The Medicare Advantage, that's another option. Then once we get that out of the way, I'll say, by the way, because one's self-employed, she's a dentist, and the other one runs a United Charity in the town I run in. It's for people that need food and stuff like that. So that's another thing. I say, hey, let me ask you guys a question. What other benefits do you currently have, and do you get through your employer? Well, one was an employer, the other one, when they said, well, what do you mean? I said, well, do you have life insurance? And I just flat out asked them just like that. And they, they both, one of them said, yeah, I have it through work. And the other one said, no, but that's something I have been thinking about. And then from there, I set up a separate appointment. And that way I can focus strictly on the life insurance. And based on our initial conversation about the Medicare, I knew kind of what their health was and if they had issues or anything like that. So when we go into the life insurance part, I have an idea of what I can offer them and what I can focus on. So in their particular case, one unfortunately had been treated for cancer recently. So I know right away what I can offer her. It's going to be a guarantee issue plan. The other one also had a small health issue, but they would be able to qualify for either an Americo or a Mutual of Omaha level, which is day one coverage. So that's how I normally do it. Now, if I was talking to Emily, for instance, and she said, hey, I need health insurance. I'm really focused on health insurance. I would do the same thing. I would say, all right, well, we have a couple different types of health insurance. And then I would probably talk about the marketplace. And then I would also talk about like a Manhattan Life, for instance. And then I would say, by the way, what are your other gaps? Do you have anything else you need coverage for? And they would say, well, what are you talking about? I would say, Emily, do you have cancer coverage? Have you ever known anybody that had cancer? You know how expensive that can be. No, I don't. But all right, what about dental, vision, and hearing? No, I don't have that, but I want that. What about life insurance? Well, they're going to say yes or no. Well, I have life insurance. I said, okay, what kind do you have? Well, I'm not really sure. Well, is it something permanent that you're going to have the rest of your life, or is it term that's going to run out at some point? Yeah, I think it's term. Do you know how much? Do you know how long you have left? Blah, blah, blah. And depending on what they tell me, I'll take notes. And then I'll say, well, let me tell you what, Emily, I'm going to send you a quote and all that stuff. So I will send her a quote, 2 different quotes. I'll go to the marketplace in this case, and I'll send her some options there. Then I'll send her a separate quote sheet with Manhattan Life options. And then I'll add a cancer, I'll add the dental, and then I'll add a couple different life products. I'll add maybe a whole life final expense, depending on the age. And then I'll add maybe a simplified issue term, depending on what they wanted it for. So that's, Emily, I don't, that's how I do it. I know everybody else does it differently. Some people are hesitant about even offering life insurance for whatever reason. I have no idea. But what I know is life insurance is the only product we offer in any type of coverage, whether it's over under 65, that one day everybody's going to use. There is no other coverage we know for sure that people are going to use one day other than life insurance. You can offer it
Absolutely.
with, yeah, see, and that's the mindset I always have. Reason being, I have worked with so many um, clients over the years, whether it's over or under 65, and whenever I bring up life insurance, I'm amazed how many say, well, I lost a mom and all the kids had to chip in, or we had an uncle that passed away and they didn't have coverage, and and things like that. If you bring it up and talk about it, which I do every single time, sometimes they're interested, sometimes they're not. Sometimes they do what Emily said to begin with. They'll just say, I don't want to talk about life insurance, no interest, I'm good. Don't, and all right. Well, then you can feel good about at least offering if something happens down the line. I always bring up the scenario, what if you stack somebody, whether it's over or under 65, with everything under the sun except life insurance? You get a call 6 months or a year later. Hey, Kevin, this is Emily. By the way, I know you set my husband up with 5 different things, but he had passed away. How much life insurance did we set up with him? Oh, I'm sorry, I forgot to bring that up. So you never want to find yourself in that situation. That might be a little stretch or drastic even, but if you at least bring it up every single time, then you know that they're aware. That's another, and another thing, Emily, is they're aware of another service you provide. If you don't tell them all the different things that are available, they won't even know what you do have available. Years
Absolutely.
ago, well, years ago, I did just mainly I did mainly ancillary products like disability stuff for a company called Combined Insurance, and I had so many people ask me about all these different things I just mentioned, and I didn't offer any of them. I had to refer them out. So when I came with North American, I decided to be able to offer all that stuff. So the only thing I can't offer now is property and casualty, and I have a referral person I can give that to, but it's good when they ask you whether it's life insurance or cancer plan or long-term care or whatever. You can offer all those things. But every single time I bring up life insurance, and it's just a part of my conversation, and it's just matter of fact. You don't have to feel uncomfortable. You don't have to, feel like you're making them, well, think about something that they don't want to think about. It's an important part. If you ever talk to a financial planner, they'll tell you flat out, life insurance is one of the biggest parts of a person's financial planning. So you got to kind of think about all those things when you're talking to people. Does that help at all, Emily?
Oh, thank you so much for the approach. Yes, that's fantastic. I'm not at all uncomfortable with asking them. I just wanted to know what the expert does and the approach. And this is fantastic, Kevin. Thank you. Because you know what? We all suffer from the same virus. It's called time.
Yep.
So thank
Well,
you. Yes, that's a
you're
huge
more
help.
than welcome. And when you have people in your own life, in your own circle of influence, so to say, family and friends that passed away. I had a friend of mine, one of my best friends, like 4 years ago. His son was killed in a motorcycle.
We lost you, Kevin.
Yeah, I mean, I got a 28-year-old son too, and they grew up together. I mean, we were at the lake, football games, everything, and the first thing I thought of is I hope he had life insurance on him because you don't think about that. So most people think about life insurance as they get older, but and another mindset to have everyone is the younger the better, whether it's a kid's policy in Gerber locking their age in, or Mutual Womo's got another great one for kids. Uh, when a person's young and in good health, that's the best time to offer them life insurance because you lock in a lower rate, you lock in more coverage. And then if your insurability is, a lot of people don't think about that. You're locking in their insurability because if I offer Emily at 28 years old and life insurance and she says no, and I just let it go, 3 years later, I contact her again and she said, oh, I developed cancer. I really want to get that life insurance now. Well, unfortunately, you can't. So you want to bring it up and you want to tell them all the important factors. Well, let's lock in your age and your health right now. Your age and your health qualify. You never know for how long, right? But yeah, I never thought of it that way. Different things like that, just to get them thinking about how important it is if they have a wife, if they have kids, if they have a house, if they have whatever, to protect their income, to pay off their mortgage, their kids' college education. Um, I'm talking to a person right now she works, her husband works. He's quite a bit older than her, 21 years older to be exact. They have a kid together. He's got older kids from a previous marriage. So she asked me about life insurance, her husband, many times. And every time she brings it up to him, he says, well, I think I got something through work. And she says, well, how do I make him understand the importance of it? I said, well, look, he makes more money than you, which means if he were to pass away tomorrow, you got to think about these things and bring it up. Uh, you have a lifestyle and a good lifestyle, a nice house, nice cars, all that. If the biggest part of the income between the two of you is gone tomorrow, how are you going to offset that? You need at least something to offset it for a few years or a couple of years at least till you can get back on your feet. A lump sum check in your hand for however much money is better than nothing at all. And the older a person is getting, the more it's going to be. So you really want to emphasize all those things and just don't let it go until they just say, no, I'm not interested. That's how I do it anyway.
Thank you. I think
Anybody
that's
else?
really helpful.
Yeah, yeah. And it's funny, Emily, every time I'm on and I think I've mentioned this in the past, and I brought it up to Andy a bunch of times, and every time I'm on a training session, whether it's someone with our company or some other company, and they talk about stacking products over under 65, very few times do you see them offer life insurance. But does anybody on this call know who Galen is? Galen, heck is her name's escaping me now. The Queen of the Bundle. You guys know who she is? Anyway, she owns a successful company, and she talks about stacking all the time. And I was on a couple of her trainings, and she does add life insurance, and I was very glad to see that. She's extremely, Google her, and all of her stuff will pop up. But she's very successful. She's been involved with North American for many, many years. She was at our conference last year, but she always adds life insurance as an option in her quotes. Eric Jan, which is another very successful person out of Tennessee with our company, and now I call it the Eric Jan's method. Uh, he does the same thing. Every single quote he does a lot of group and individual health and stuff, but he always adds like a 10-year, $10,000 term or something like that on all of his quotes. And I said, well, why do you only offer that much? He says, well, if I just offer any life insurance at all, it doesn't matter how much or what kind, it just opens the conversation. And that way I'll know whether or not they need it. I thought that was awesome. So I actually copied him, and I do that now as well. So just
So
some
if I may,
tips.
sorry,
No,
should
no, go ahead. Go
I
ahead.
raise my hand, Kevin, so I don't possibly interrupt you? I want to be
No, no, you
rude.
guys interrupt me whenever you want. I'm trying to get other people to talk too. I don't want to be the only one talking, but
So when you're saying that you emulate that, are you adding the 10-year term? Because I mean, to me, that would be pretty harmless. I mean, especially if
yeah, of
it's
course.
simplified. Okay, very good.
Whether or
on.
not they even ask, Emily. So
Yeah.
another, again, an example. I got a person I'm talking to today, and it's him and his wife and two kids. All of them are in good health. So he said, "I want health insurance." I said, "All right." So again, I always offer the ACA plan, and I always offer Manhattan Life or Paylick or whoever, just to give them some options. And then, of course, explain the difference. And then as they're going down the quote item, they'll see life insurance, and sometimes they'll say, "Well, I don't remember offering life insurance or talking about life insurance." I said, "Yeah, I just wanted to bring it up to make sure you and your kids are covered, just in case something were to happen to you. Everybody's in a good situation." You'd be amazed how many times, "Well, I never thought about that," or "I've been meaning to get to it." And if the parents are covered, I always say, "Well, do you have one on the kids?" Well, no. Well, keep in mind, if unfortunately, if a kid passes away, it's just as expensive as if an adult does. And the neat thing about Mutual of Omaha or Gerber, a child, usually it's 17 and under life insurance, it's permanent life insurance. You lock in that premium. With Gerber, it doubles at age 18. With Mutual of Omaha, they have guaranteed insurability 5 separate times to increase coverage throughout their life with the guaranteed insurability. So and the persistency on child life insurance is very, very high. So just another thought for you guys to keep in mind if people do have kids, grandparents purchasing it for a legacy for their grandkids. A lady called me the other day specifically for a Gerber college fund, and she wanted to be able to leave something for her granddaughter to help with college when, at some point when she passes away. I hadn't written one of those, so I dug into it. Man, what a great policy that is. So we just literally have something for every situation.
Okay, so which one do you like best for if you were just going to, would you recommend to me if I'm just going to add a quote, just to
Uh-huh.
open that door, which one would you recommend if I have a mom with 3 kids, for example? Which company
Uh,
would you recommend?
well, if I'm doing health insurance and I never even brought up life insurance, I would do that. I would probably, in that case, I would do the health insurance. I would add an accident, family accident, because of course, if there's kids, they're going to get hurt. I got 3 boys, and God knows, I know they get hurt. I would always add dental. Then, yeah, I would definitely add in that case, probably depending on the age of the kids, I would probably add like just to at least start the conversation, maybe a 20-year, $50,000 simplified issue term insurance. So when you bring it up, if it's a mom, and let's say she's mid-30s, even early 40s, the premium, good health, non-smoker, the premiums are extremely low. Um, some of them have child riders on them, and what if she said, "Well, I didn't bring up life insurance. I don't have life insurance. I'm not sure why you brought that up." So, well, let me ask you this: if something were to happen to you, who's going to take care of your kids? I mean, and if something did happen to you, do you have money for final expense so you don't burden other family members? And on top of that, let's say you did get the 50,000, something were to happen to you, your final expenses covered, and there's additional money for whoever continues to take care of your kids to help offset some of those expenses with daycare and so on. And, sometimes they're interested, sometimes they're not, but you'd be amazed how many people just don't think about it.
Well, at least I'm doing my job and offering it and bringing it to their
Yes.
attention. The worst case scenario is, they don't do it and I did my job and maybe they'll come back. But like you said, at least now they'll know what I do, what I can help them with, to where
Yeah,
they wouldn't if I didn't mention it.
and what you said, Emily, and Mary, I'll get right to you. But Emily, what you said, and I never say it, but you plant the seed, and
Right.
that's a great way to look at the stack part when you offer that. All you're
Yeah.
doing is planting a seed to open a conversation. They may not need cancer, they may not need dental, they may not need accident, they may not need life insurance, but now they know you do all that stuff,
Yes. Yes. Thank you, Kevin. And I'll be quiet now.
No, 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 that's great conversation. These are all things that helps other. Mary, did you have a question?
Yeah, I'm like extremely new, but my question, and I put it in the chat, was like if you have a husband and wife and say the husband's a lot older,
Yep.
and do you get to write it for the rate on the wife's age to get a cheaper rate, or do you have to write on the husband's age?
Yeah, I saw your question. So there's different types. And I'll give you an example with my wife and me, and maybe it'll answer that. And this kind of goes along to another situation. So when I got together, my wife's 14 years younger than me, and she didn't have life insurance. So after we, got, we have two kids together and so on. And right now, my income's a little higher than hers, but she makes good money also. So I already had a bunch of life insurance on me. So of course, because I wanted to make sure I left a whole crap ton of money if I were to pass away to my 28-year-old. But I had to reevaluate that because now we have two younger kids together. So I have a bunch of life insurance on me if something were to happen to me for her and the kids. She didn't have any life insurance for me, in case something that were to happen. Maybe because she's younger, maybe she didn't think about it. So I brought that up. I said, I'm going to go ahead and take out life insurance on you in case something were to happen, because she makes pretty good money too. And if something were to happen, it would affect her lifestyle. So I showed a sense of urgency with her, and I kind of painted the picture if something were to happen. And I kind of got the ball rolling in that situation. With this other person I was talking about earlier, same thing. She finds it more important to get life insurance in case her older husband passes away than he does, because people think they're going to live forever. So in a case like that, that you're talking about, Mary, I would, depending on the age difference and stuff like that, I would probably
It
look
would
at.
be an 18-year gap with, say, me being the younger of the two.
Oh, okay. Well, me and my wife are 14, so you got us beat. So, but the other one's 21, so they got us both beat. But yeah, I absolutely. I would bring it up to your husband, spouse, whatever. And if he says, yeah, do what you want to do. I mean, you could always, you could be the payer, you could be the owner, and you could be the beneficiary. So you could take total control to insure the individual. You just got to make sure they know that you're putting insurance on them. That way, it doesn't keep getting procrastinated. It doesn't keep getting put off, because the longer you wait, the older especially males, as males get older, their premiums go up at a higher clip. And so, yeah, I hope that answers your question. But and I told this other person I'm working with the same thing, and I did that with my wife. The only difference is it was just a little reverse. I took it out on her, but I would suggest in your case and the other person's case I'm working with, you guys take the reins and say, hey, I'm getting this. You're going to help me pay for it, because if something happens to you, it's going to benefit the family. That's how I would approach it. Hope that helps. Anybody else? Any questions? We're about getting to the end here. All right. Well, guys, if you ever do have any questions, you guys can call me anytime on my cell phone. If you get my voicemail, I'll be right back to you. And then like today after this call, starting at 11 o'clock, I got 4 appointments I got to go to. And Emily might help you. All 4 of them are Medicare appointments, but I'm going to bring up life insurance on every single one of them, because 2 of the people I'm going to go see, I know have no life insurance just from talking to them initially. So once I get done with the Medicare stuff, I'll bring up life insurance to see if they have interest. And if so, then I'll make a follow-up appointment. But yeah, that's just part of what I do.
Can we get your contact information?
I don't know if it was attached to this particular invite, but we'll going forward. But you can use you can use my personal email, which is fine. It's Kevin, Kevin, at Ristau Insurance, Ristau Insurance.com. Kevin at RistauInsurance.com. My cell phone is 214-952-6339. And yeah, anytime you guys need anything, reach out. If you want to send me an email and say, hey, can we set up a time to go through these sites so I know how to quote and look at the products, we can do that. Going forward, we'll do screen sharing and I'll bring those up. But it's all good to know, because the sites, like I said, they offer excellent training. That's how I learned about most of this stuff by myself, or as my little one would say, by my own. But the sites you go to, it shows you how to do the quotes, shows you how to do the e-apps, it shows the products. But I wouldn't overwhelm yourself with every single product. I would stick to final expense and maybe a simplified issue term at the most to start. As you get more knowledgeable, more seasoned, then you can add in IULs and all that stuff. But initially, that's what I would do. But yeah, shoot me an email and I'd be more than happy to schedule time to help you guys with whatever you need. So anything else?
Okay,
Thank you,
what
thank you.
was the website again that we go to learn all the stuff that you just spoke
Well,
about?
Well, it depends. If you're with Mutual of Omaha, first of all, you got to be appointed, of course, with contracted. But Mutual of Omaha, yeah, just Mutual of Omaha. Once you get your contracting stuff from that, you'll get an email and you'll get a link, or it's mutualofomaha.com, and then you do your registration and sign in. With Americo, you can go to the Americo site, or I recommend going to Agent Cafe. It's AGENTCAFE, agentcafe.com. It brings you to it's a site that it'll allow you to go to the Americo site, but the Agent Cafe site is Americo. It's everything Americo. You can look at all the microsites there and get the product training, the information for materials. It's got their quote system. It's got all that stuff. So if you guys want me to walk you through that, which is easy to do, just shoot me an email. We'll schedule a time over the next couple of days, and it only takes a few minutes to do both of those things. And Gerber, and of course, it's just Gerber.com, but that's nothing more than it just shows the different products. And if it's a guarantee issue, it shows the quote. You put an age, the state, and how much you want, and boom, it pops up a quote. I mean, I know like anything, you do it enough, it sounds easier than it is, but it's pretty easy to do all that stuff. So shoot me an email, let me know when you guys have time, and I'll walk you through that stuff. And as the weeks go on, we'll actually screen share and do that as well.
Thank you very much, Kevin. This was really helpful
you.
today, and you have a great rest of your week. And
Hey, you
everybody
guys
else
too, productive. And next
Right.
week, let's see if we can all have some good news, whether you sell or not, at least that you talk to someone about life insurance, how it went, how we can help maybe improve it in the future. And if we're doing quotes and stuff, and if you have, in case you need a quote, we can do it right while we're on the air. So,
Okay, I'm going to do what you said.
all right, if you guys need me, give me a call.
All right, thanks, Kevin. Everybody
You're
have a
welcome.
good
Have a
week.
great day, everybody.